What caused this guy to crash? Or this guy? This week on MCrider, we talk about traction and some bad habits that you may have that may reduce yours, or a reaction that you may have that could cause you to be like one of these guys. Hey, my name's Kevin. I'm your host here at MCrider, where we release a weekly video with the goal to help make you a better rider. We have a new video that comes out every Friday morning, so if you like what you see, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon, and you'll be notified when new videos are posted every Friday. Our video last week brought up some discussion about tire grip. Now, if we had just unlimited traction, a rider could just slam on their brakes and the motorcycle would instantly stop. But we don't have unlimited traction, so it's important that we understand the forces that impact our traction and how we can best use those forces to ride safely on a motorcycle. Many of you recommended in the last week in the video involving our incident that our riders should cover the front brakes, so keep fingers over those front brakes, particularly in situations in a city like this where there's a lot of traffic around them. Now, I won't try to dissuade you from that, because if you think about it, it does actually make sense that it saves those milliseconds in time reaching for the front brake if your fingers are already in position. But here's some things that I want you to think about, particularly if you're a new rider and you're considering using this technique. The MSF teaches riders not to cover the front brake. Particularly if you're a new rider, there's a few reasons not to do so. And one of those is that you're likely to use the front brake in a slow maneuvering situation. If you're going slow on a motorcycle in a tight turn and you squeeze in the front brake, I don't know a quicker way to drop a motorcycle than to use the front brake in a slow situation. So if you're a new rider, you might want to not cover that front brake to resist that temptation to squeeze the brake in slow maneuvering situations. Also, in road speed situations, it may lead a rider to reach out and grab the brake. Our natural instinct when we see something that threatens us on the road is to apply those brakes as quickly as possible. If your fingers are already in position, your natural instinct is to reach out and grab those brakes. So if you're a new rider, you need to be careful about that. Even if you're an experienced rider, you need to develop the ability to apply the brakes properly in an emergency situation. Now, third, it can lead a rider to aggressively apply the brakes while the motorcycle is leaned over, which is something that you don't want to do. All of that brings us to our discussion this week, and that's the effects of braking and throttle application on cornering traction. I put together a nice chart for you that kind of illustrates what I'm talking about. The gray area on the chart on the right-hand side is our total traction available, and the orange is the traction used by braking or accelerating. You see, the more that we brake or accelerate, the more of our total traction is used up. This is especially true when going around a corner, because cornering requires traction as well. The MSF teaches new riders to do all of their braking before entering the corner, so before leaning the motorcycle over. But as in a lot of things in life, that's not the only method to accomplish your intended goal. As you could see in the chart earlier, if you apply some brakes or you apply some throttle, you still have some traction left available for cornering. But there's another important factor when it comes to braking and accelerating in a corner, and that's how the brakes are applied or how the throttle is applied while the motorcycle is leaned over. Tires are very good at taking a heavy load. We did a video a few weeks ago on cornering traction, and tires can surprisingly take a heavy load. They're very good at that. But what they're not good at is taking an abrupt load. So how you apply the brakes or the throttle has a huge impact on the available traction that you've got to get through that corner. To me, that is part of the reason why training is so important. because it allows us to develop that skill in smooth application of the brakes and throttles, even when we face those situations in an emergency incident out on the road. It's also why I'm a huge believer in ABS and traction control on bikes, because where our skills fall short, electronics a lot of times will pick up the slack and help us get through the situation in spite of our bad habits. I believe training is important, and that's why I believe the field guide's an important tool to have available to you guys, because it lays out specific training exercises to help you practice these techniques and develop that skill on a safe parking lot, so that you've got it available to you when you need it out on the street. You can get more information on the field guide at mcrider.com/support, and a patron at any level gets immediate access to the field guide to begin practicing these life-saving techniques. So what about you? I'd like to hear from some of you guys. Leave a comment in the comments below and tell me a situation where maybe you applied the brakes or the throttle inappropriately and you learned a lesson from it, or maybe a situation where your training helped you to apply the brakes properly and to get the motorcycle to a stop in a safe manner. So leave a comment below. I'd love to learn from you guys as well. And until next week, guys, this is Kevin with MCrider, and we'll see you on the road. Thanks for considering your support of MCrider. You can learn more by clicking here on YouTube or going to mcrider.com/support.